From the Lower Colorado River Authority, this is Wavelength.
You don't have to look far to see the signs of growth in Leander. Housing starts are on the rise and construction equipment can be seen on almost every corner. But one thing that has threatened to bring the growth to an end is the fact that Leander has a shortage of water. But a new alliance between the Lower Colorado River Authority and the Brazos River Authority will likely ensure a stable water supply for communities like Leander throughout all of central Texas. Many people who live in Leander, which lies just over the hills, can actually see Lake Travis from their homes. The problem is they haven't been able to use it because they technically lie within the Brazos River Authority's service area. But now, because of this historic agreement, they'll not only be able to see Lake Travis, they'll actually be able to taste the water from it. It will take legislative action to make the agreement final, but already Leander officials are breathing a sigh of relief.
Leander sits on the top of a hill and the lake's on the other side. But it's a long way from here to the Brazos. But this agreement is the beginning of the solution of a problem, and I think it will help citizens have better confidence in their government. I'm glad to be a part of it today, and thank you very much.
The pact came at the urging of state and local officials who complimented the two agencies for taking the lead in providing a long-term solution for Leander.
I had a lot of trepidation. I had my concerns about it. I worried that going to a quasi-government agency that they would be having turf battles, stepping on each other's toes, but it's been remarkable the progress that was made in such a very short period of time. They have cooperated in an outstanding fashion, and they have moved very swiftly. And I thank you very much for the work that you've done and look forward to a lot more.
And I'd like to thank both the Lower Colorado River Authority Board and the Brazos River Authority Board for joining hands for what I consider to be a historic cooperative agreement in assisting Williamson County to meet both its current and future water needs.
The agreement will also save Leander residents money. Running water lines from the nearest Brazos Reservoir would be far more expensive than coming from Lake Travis. In short, it just made good sense.
We have many common links. Yes, this is in Williamson County, and most of this is in the Brazos River Basin. But these folks are all electric customers of the LCRA, and that is critically important to us. And our job to provide not only the water resources, but also all of the tools that folks need in order to be able to grow and prosper. Water should not be a problem in Williamson County. Water should not be a reason for this community and these communities not to grow. Water should not be a problem anywhere within the Colorado or the Brazos basins.
We in the Brazos River Authority for many years have worked with interbasin transfers in other areas. And with the proper legislation, we can exchange water in one area of the Colorado Basin with water in another area of the Brazos Basin, and by moving both of those waters, not make any water not available for the citizens in either one of those basins. Alliance will allow us to do that and put us in the position to work very closely together to find out where can we do that most economically, and where can we do that at the best time to help all the people in both of our basins.
The alliance has opened the door for the two agencies to talk about other ways to help each other. The LCRA is already hoping to tap into BRA's expertise in wastewater management and water quality monitoring.
It was a scene of destruction here at Sandy Harbor on Lake LBJ back on May 30th, after a flash flood rolled down Sandy Creek and Walnut Creek, knocking homes off their foundations and sweeping away docks and boathouses. The huge wall of water also deposited this massive raft of debris in Lake LBJ. Today, things are getting back to normal, and the LCRA has lowered Lake LBJ 5 feet to allow homeowners to repair the damage.
Our wall had caved in, so we had to get that replaced, and our dock was gone, and my pontoon boat was totally crushed, in that. So we're trying to build back everything that got destroyed.
The lake lowering has also allowed LCRA crews to continue sand removal work in the area.
The work that LCRA has done right here is definitely going to help navigation. They removed some stuff that just was impossible for us as a community to move, like trees and so forth that was in the channel. They have drained out the channel for two reasons. One, for navigational, I guess, purposes, and the other was to supply the community with water.
Without the cooperation of local property owners, this task would have been nearly impossible.
One of the problems with doing work like this is disposal of the sand. Several people did some legwork here before we got into the creek, and we were real fortunate that one of the landowners directly behind us agreed to have some fill done. And so the sand that we're digging out of the creek is actually being put on the low part of a landowner's lot here. Across the creek where we're going to do the other channel, we're also going to fill in a ravine with sand from there. So we're fortunate that we don't have to move sand very far. If we had to move the sand, that would be an astronomical cost to complete this project.
In the days after the Memorial Day flood, the LCRA brought in barges to help remove debris which would pose a safety and navigational hazard, something local residents were glad to see.
We were very satisfied with the response we got for the cleanup. I think, as everybody pretty well knows, we were very disappointed about the early warning system that we had. Hopefully that's being worked on and will be corrected. If it hadn't been for LCRA, I don't know what we'd have managed to do with cleanup afterwards.
Rain gauges in the Sandy Creek watershed, which were not licensed by the FCC at the time of the flood, are now operational, sending vital weather information back to the LCRA. Further downstream, Lake Marble Falls was lowered 13 feet, exposing the falls for which the lake and the city are named. This lowering was done primarily to allow repair work to be done at Starkey Dam, which impounds Lake Marble Falls. Starkey Dam was completed in 1951, and time has taken its toll on these metal floodgates. This project is preparing the upstream face of the dam so that a special bulkhead can be placed against it. This will allow the gates to be repaired without having to lower the lake at all.
And then we'll bring a large barge-looking device in here called bulkhead. It'll operate kind of like a garage door where you slide it up against the dam and start sinking the first section, and it just rolls down in front of the dam. We can seal it off and then replace or repair the gate behind the bulkhead.
The huge steel bulkhead is being fabricated by crews at LCRA's Rail Fleet Maintenance Facility in Smithville. It is specially designed so it can be used at both Starkey Dam and Tom Miller Dam in Austin.
On a bright, brisk November morning, the turbines of the West Texas Wind Project caught their first gusts of wind and transformed them into electricity for homes far away in central Texas. For the LCRA board members and staff who braved the early morning tour and 10-degree wind chill, the inspiring sight was well worth the inconvenience.
And when you think that this power that they're generating here is going all the way back to Austin and the LCRA service area, it's really exciting.
Oh, it's marvelous. I have heard about it, but you can't really understand the capacity of it and the enormity of it till you come and see it in person.
After an early morning tour of the project, the LCRA board members and staff joined hundreds of other people from around the state to officially dedicate this wind project. In a ceremony in Van Horn, the nearest community to the project, Land Commissioner Gary Morrow and LCRA General Manager Mark Rose put the finishing touches on the project.
Well, this is not a demonstration project. This is energy being made. The price of the fuel is free. It may cost a little bit more to produce it today, but in the future it will become more and more competitive. And I'm absolutely convinced that there is a viable place for this clean technology in the marketplace. Folks are absolutely fascinated with wind power, and that's why we're in this project.
The $40 million project consists of 112 turbines, which are capable of generating 35 megawatts of electricity, roughly enough to power 12,000 homes. The LCRA has committed to purchase 25 megawatts. The project was built in cooperation with the Texas General Land Office, which will transfer the state's royalty money into the permanent school fund. It is a winning arrangement for everyone involved.
I think LCRA has always been forward-looking, and this is as sweet a deal as you can get, because first of all, our fuel supply is unlimited and inexpensive.
Good windy day. I think everybody's real proud for LCRA. Not too many other utilities have had the guts to stand out and make something like this happen. And here we are, just 2 years and a couple months after everybody had this idea. Wind turbines are flying, the project's complete. We're looking forward to expansion. Just great to be here today.
Engineers have stressed that this is not an experimental project. Wind technology has improved greatly in recent years, and this part of West Texas will likely play an even bigger role in years ahead. And while oil and gas have long been associated as a major icons for the state of Texas, they must now share the spotlight with yet another emerging star.
This monument commemorates the first shot fired in the Texas Revolution and the battle for independence from Mexico. Now that happened on October 2nd, 1835. And just down the road from this monument is the birthplace of one of LCRA's oldest electric customers. They were created in 1939 and helped lead the way in electrifying rural Texas. This month on Customer Corner, we visit the Guadalupe Valley Electric Co-op. GVEC energized their first electric line in January 1940 to serve 150 farmers in rural Gonzales County. Today, from their headquarters complex in Gonzales, GVEC's 203 employees serve nearly 33,000 customers in a 4-county area located between San Antonio and Houston in the fertile Guadalupe Valley. Marcus Pridgeon took over as general manager at GVEC 2 years ago, and one of his main priorities during that time has been to upgrade the technology used in communicating and sharing information between the office and field employees.
You need to understand what the number one important thing at GVEC is. It's safety. It's safety of our people in the field. And I think that information will increase the safe working environment of our linemen out in the field. So they'll have access to absolutely any piece of information that exists at the cooperative right there in the form of a laptop computer in their service truck.
Another priority at GVEC has always been customer service. But with deregulation and increased competition in the electric power industry, some analysts are saying that the only thing that will matter to consumers is the bottom line, cost of service.
Well, I don't believe that. For 56 years, GVEC has had the same mission statement. And that mission statement says that it is our goal to provide reliable central station electricity at the lowest cost consistent with prudent management practices. Now, it doesn't say the lowest cost absolutely bottom dollar. It says the lowest cost consistent with prudent management practices. And we believe that we're going to be here for the long run. And so we have invested money. We have spent money in programs that will pay out in the long run, like tree trimming, like pole replacement, like meter inspections, like weatherization, conservation, programs that don't have an immediate dollar impact, but will as the years go on.
GVEC dispatch.
This is the nerve center of the GVEC electric system. This room is staffed 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And from here, line crews are dispatched to trouble spots, weather conditions are constantly monitored, and conservation equipment is operated, which helps control the peak demand for power, saving the co-op and its members money on their electric bills.
Resolution to U.S.
In 1992, GVEC offered a new service to its co-op members, the opportunity to receive 150 channels of digital quality television on an 18-inch disc. It's called DirecTV.
The customer base right now, we serve about 1,300 customers with the DirecTV technology.
and it's growing every day. They're putting in anywhere from 60 to 100 a month, and is really taking off well for us.
Although GVEC started out supplying electricity primarily to farms and ranches, 60% of its load today comes from commercial and industrial customers. Much of that growth comes from high-tech agribusiness such as Tyson Foods, Ralston Purina, and Cal-Maine Foods, the largest egg processor in the country. This business expansion is no surprise to GVEC. They've invested a great deal of time and money improving the infrastructure of the area, making sure that water, wastewater, and electric services are available when a business comes looking for a place to build or expand. Structural Metals Inc., or SMI, is GVEC's largest electric customer. They employ over 800 people and produce steel for the construction industry. Marcus Pridgeon recalls a recent incident when power was lost to the plant.
I can tell you that LCRA was on the scene at almost the instant it happened, and for the entire week after that, LCRA had folks there almost 24 hours a day. And I think, Richard, that when you look at the true value of people, you can't look at them when things are going good. You've got to look at their action when things are going bad. Well, that particular week, things were not going good for us. And I cannot say too many good things about the LCRA people who strapped themselves onto the sides of the GVEC folks during that week and brought power back to the SMI substation. They were truly troopers.
For the future, Pridgeon says he hopes GVEC can continue to be more than a utility provider. He feels it's very important to be a good corporate citizen who supports local schools, civic organizations, and encourages its employees to volunteer time to make their community a better place to live. Texas Recycles Day was November 15th, and employees here at the T.C. Ferguson plant near Marble Falls wanted to start a recycling program for the plant, the LCRA dams, and communities in the area. They sponsored a collection site at the plant for 2 weeks with help from the Central Texas Recycling Association and invited local citizens who don't have access to a program to bring out their recyclables.
I think it's really become mainstream. I think that even just 5 years ago, maybe even 3 years ago, recycling was still an environmentalist thing to do. I think now it's just so common sense that it's really become a mainstream. I don't think anybody even thinks twice about it now when you say we recycle or, do y'all want to start a recycling program?
Bob Barton had the idea and hopes that it will become a permanent recycling program for the area.
This program right here is going to be a feeler to see if there is some good community involvement, and if there is, we're going to go for it. And if there's not, Hydro's, Ferguson plant are still going to continue to do this. We're not in it to make money, but we're in it to get rid of the materials and do the right thing and keep it out of the landfills.
Well, here we are again doing the year-end piece, trying to figure out what it is we're supposed to say here. When I think about 1995, what comes to mind is that this really is a year where many of the projects that we've worked on and thought about for several years have come to pass. They've all become very visible successes. When I stood up on the Delaware mountains and watched those wind turbines generate electricity, and I couldn't help but think that, man, that was just a thought a couple of years ago. 2 years ago, that wasn't a project. We've gone to all the park dedications up and down the river from San Saba to Matagorda and seeing what the LCRA and the communities up and down the river have done. It's a tremendous accomplishment. And now we have electric customers from other river basins, but electric customers of ours come into us and say, let's do some of those same projects in our areas. We've met the challenge of the legislature and being deregulated, and we've gotten some acclaim, Standard & Poor's and Fitch, and those folks saying that we're the best wholesale utility in the country. The real challenge is going to be staying the best wholesale utility. And so our motto becomes, whatever it takes. Whatever it takes for us to do to be the best river authority and to be the best electric provider in this country, then that's what we're going to do. Internally, we've made a lot of changes. We have a GenCo and a TENSCO and a water company and the service companies. A lot of employees stepping back a little bit and saying, well, aren't we building some walls? Isn't that going to tear us apart? Here we are, we have had one company concept for all of these years now, and are we going in 5 or 6 different directions with all these lines of businesses? No, that's not what we're going to do. First, we need to remember those are good problems to have. It wasn't too many years ago, folks didn't much care about even being one company. Now we're worried about losing something that seems very special to us. I don't think we're going to lose anything. I think we're going to gain. What holds us together is our mission. If you look at the old LCRA seal, which we've brought back, you'll see all 5 lines of business represented on that seal. And the LCRA mission is as strong today, and it is as important to the people of Texas today as it was in 1935 when the LCRA was created. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to be the very best river authority, the best electric provider that we possibly can be. And we'll face 1996 and the years coming ahead with a sense of purpose and a sense of direction. And I have every confidence that we will be tremendously successful.
LCRA employees are celebrating the spirit of this holiday season by volunteering their time and efforts to others. The annual Feast of Sharing was held at the City Coliseum November 21st. The event, sponsored by the LCRA, HEB, and the State Comptroller's Office, gave employees an opportunity to serve Thanksgiving dinner to over 7,000 needy Austin individuals and families.
Over 100 employees from LCRA have come here today on a volunteer basis to help serve the people of Austin some Thanksgiving feast. It's a great experience for the people at LCRA, and it's fun to be around the people of Austin who need the help. So it's a lot of fun.
Later, at a Taste of the Holidays, employees had a chance to shop for gifts and goodies during the lunch hour in the LCRA boardroom. Handmade collectibles and homemade holiday treats were donated to raise over $1,000 for the LCRA Volunteer Advisory Committee. The proceeds will sponsor various community outreach programs at local veterans hospitals and nursing homes.
Well, I'd like to wish all the employees of the LCRA a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, a wonderful holiday season. It's been certainly a challenging year for the LCRA, but an exciting one, and we've all come through with flying colors, and I want to thank everyone for all their hard work for the year.
Well, that's it for this edition of Wavelength. We leave you with some scenes of LCRA's float in the 1995 Chewy's Children Giving to Children Parade down Congress Avenue. We'll see you next month.
Programming note, we'd like to welcome KWTR, the voice of the Lower Colorado River Authority, to KV24 starting today. KV24's news at 5 will be simulcast on 15:30 a.m. Monday through Friday. Welcome.
If you have ever been to West Texas, you know the winds can be really strong. Now there's a way to harness that power. The Texas Wind Power Project officially opened today in Culberson County. The windmills will generate power for several Texas communities, including people in the Lower Colorado River Authority, which, by the way, is much of the hill country.
You probably heard the expression, water, water everywhere, but not a drop to drink. Well, that's about the way it's been for the last few years for people in the city of Leander. They've been rationing water because the city's water supply is dangerously low. Well, now it looks like help is finally on the way. The city is working on a new short-term deal to bring in more water. As Fox 7 News reporter Chris Shumway tells us, a new regional water alliance may bring relief in the long term.
Leander homeowner Nancy Luongo doesn't get to do this as much as she'd like to. The city has a low water supply, and people have to ration water during hot, dry summers. That means wilted vegetables, dry lawns, and no car washing. Nancy and her neighbors hope a new water contract in the works will bring the water back to the garden. Here's how the deal works. The city of Cedar Park, which gets its water from Lake Travis, would pipe water into Leander over a 5-year period. Leander would pay Cedar Park for the water.
We feel forgotten out here, a small town. It would be wonderful, and for everybody to be cooperative, you know, to help us out in Leander would be great.
With this contract, it looks like we will be able to solve our short-term need for next summer.
The agreement between Cedar Park and Leander isn't a done deal yet. City leaders on both sides still have to work out some legal details in the contracts, but they're pretty sure that by next summer, people here in Leander won't have to deal with severe water restrictions. The contract may take care of Nancy and her neighbors for 5 years, but Leander's growing fast, and people here also need long-term solutions. That could come from a new alliance between the Lower Colorado River Authority and the Brazos River Authority. The two major water managers will now work together on regional water plans for all of Central Texas.
There's never been a broad-based alliance where two river authorities have said we're going to work together not only on problems just like Williamson County, but throughout our basins to make sure.
If the new alliance and the Leander water contract work, people like Nancy Luongo could end some of their water worries. Chris Shumway, Fox 7 News at 6.
The LCRA and the Brazos River Authority are prevented by state law from moving water from one river basin to the other. So both agencies are lobbying lawmakers to change the rules so they can work on possible water exchanges and sales.
A Central Texas power source continues to get high marks tonight. That comes from a public utility publication. The Lower Colorado River Authority is the lowest cost electric producer in the state. The LCRA ranks 9th nationally.